killed my wife. Tell me where to find Horst Schiller.
Who are you?
You held a gun to my wife's head.
You recognize her? London?
That's Sarah. You took her life. Really fast, you might survive the blast.
Picture the smartest guy in the room, except he's not in a room full of people. He's alone in a garage, hunched over a half-built model airplane, hands steady, eyes locked in that way people get when they're solving something in their head that has nothing to do with what their hands are doing. This is Charlie, and on paper, Charlie is nobody special. A quiet, soft-spoken analyst. Someone who blends into hallways. Someone who never raises his voice in meetings. But that garage tells a different story, because the plane he's building wasn't bought in a store. It was a gift. From his wife, Sarah, for his birthday. This isn't just a gift. It's the last decision Sarah ever made for Charlie. And the way he handles it, piece by piece, tells you everything about how much he loves her, before a single word of dialogue does. Sarah walks in. She's got a trip to London coming up, a work conference. Nothing dramatic. She asks him to come along. And here's where you should lean in, because this is the moment the whole movie quietly hinges on.
I can't.
Too much on his plate. Be honest. Would you have gone with her? Just a few days apart, he tells her. No big deal. It will turn out to be the biggest deal of his entire life. Now watch him go to work. He walks through a security checkpoint. Most people would find intimidating. Full body scanners. Layered verification. The kind of system that takes a government agency years to build. Charlie doesn't blink. Why would he? He designed it. Charlie spent years building a system no one could break. He never imagined he'd one day have to outsmart it himself. This isn't just another man with a badge. This is a man who built the walls of the fortress. Imagine spending years building the world's safest fortress, never realizing one day it would become the cage you couldn't escape. He now walks through every single day. He's a CIA analyst, but analyst undersells it. Charlie is the guy other geniuses call when they're stuck. Here's what's fascinating. The movie spends its first few minutes convincing you Charlie is just another analyst. In reality, it's quietly introducing the most dangerous person in the building, someone whose greatest weapon isn't a gun, but his mind. And then, sitting at his desk, minding his own business, a message lands. From someone he's never met face to face. A shadow of a source who goes by the alias Inquiline. For years, this ghost has fed him whispers, secrets, fragments of intelligence too dangerous for official channels. But today's message is different. Today, Inquiline isn't offering information. Today, Inquiline is warning him. Something is coming. Something big enough to blow the CIA apart from the inside. Charlie does what Charlie always does. He starts solving the puzzle. He guesses Istanbul. Silence answers him back. Whoever this source really is, they're not ready to be found yet. And honestly, neither is Charlie ready for what's about to land on him. Charlie has no idea that by the end of the week, that warning isn't about a conspiracy anymore. It's about to become deeply personal. One person he loves more than anything else on earth. And he has even less idea that the very thing he's about to uncover will be signed off on by someone who greets him by name in the office hallway every single morning. Stick with this one, because the opening 10 minutes feel like a completely different movie than the one you're actually about to watch. Here's the cruelty of what's about to happen. None of it announces itself. Charlie spends the rest of that day doing ordinary things, the kind of things that feel unbearable to watch, once you know what's coming. He goes back to that stack of encrypted files that refuse to crack, even under the weight of his own genius. For someone used to solving everything, here's the irony. Charlie can solve problems that keep governments awake at night. The one problem he never sees coming is the one no amount of intelligence can predict. That alone should feel like a warning sign. He eats lunch without ever leaving his desk. He answers a call from Sarah. She tells him she's landed safely in London. He already knew that, by the way. He'd been quietly tracking her flight the entire time. Not out of suspicion. Out of that particular kind of love that needs to know the people it cares about are safe. It's such a small detail. It will become almost unbearable later. The call is short. Charlie's mind is elsewhere, buried in code that won't break. Eventually, he takes his laptop somewhere no one else in the building is even authorized to walk into. A lockdown room, built for exactly this kind of impossible puzzle. And there, hours later, hunched over a screen, sleep-deprived and stubborn, he finally breaks it. The truth that spills out isn't just classified, it's radioactive. Buried in those documents is proof that a drone strike, one that killed 150 people, including French Special Forces and Danish Marines, was never a strike at all. Not in the official record. It had been repackaged, rewritten, presented to the world as a suicide bombing, a lie stitched into history. And sitting at the top of the signature chain, the man who authorized it, is someone Charlie sees every single day, his own boss. This is the moment the movie quietly changes genres. Up until now, it feels like a story about an analyst. From this point on, it's about a man discovering the system he trusted has been lying to him. Charlie doesn't know it yet, but this is the last ordinary workday he'll ever have. That night, Charlie tries calling Sarah. No answer. He leaves her a voicemail instead. The kind of message people leave without thinking twice, never imagining it might be one of the last things they ever say to someone. The next morning, his boss is waiting for him at the office. And this is where the floor drops out. He's walked into the director's office. A new director, someone named O'Brien, someone Charlie barely knows. And he's told, flatly, that there has been an attack. A hotel. London. And Sarah was there. Charlie does what anyone would do. He refuses to believe it. Instead, someone turns on a television, and the room fills with breaking news coverage. 4 armed attackers. A hotel under siege. Hostages taken. 2 people already dead. Then comes the security footage. Grainy, merciless, and there, in frame, unmistakably, Sarah. She's gone. Notice how quickly the movie takes Charlie's greatest strength away from him. Logic can't negotiate with grief. For the first time in his life, intelligence isn't enough. And for once, Charlie has no answer. Charlie goes home to find his front lawn crawling with reporters. A friend gets him through the chaos and into the house, but there's no shelter from what's waiting for him inside. Silence, and a life that no longer makes sense. The very next day, grief hasn't even had time to settle, before suspicion creeps in. Charlie sits across from his boss, and another senior officer named Caleb, and he starts asking the questions nobody else seems to be asking. London is one of the most heavily surveilled cities. Think about that for a second. Does that explanation actually make sense to you? Would that explanation satisfy you? Or would you start asking the same questions Charlie does? How does a team of 4 terrorists vanish without a trace? How do they escape through traffic-choked streets, without a single camera catching them? He's told the investigation is ongoing. He's told to go home and rest. He does neither. Not really. Instead, he goes to collect Sarah's body and her belongings from the airport. And in her suitcase, folded among her things, he finds a gift. Something she bought for him before she died. This is one of the cruelest moments in the film. Not because of what's inside the suitcase, but because it's proof Sarah was still thinking about Charlie while Charlie had no idea he was already saying goodbye. Something she never got the chance to give him. It breaks him completely. Whatever composure Charlie has been holding together crumbles right there. Alone, with an object in his hands that was supposed to be a surprise, and instead becomes the cruelest kind of goodbye. And for once, there's nothing left for Charlie to figure out. He can't sit in that house. The silence is too loud. So he does the only thing he actually knows how to do. With pain like this, he goes back to work. Most revenge stories begin with a man picking up a weapon. This one begins with a man opening another file. That's the difference. And it's why Charlie is unlike almost every action hero you've seen. Grief for most people is something you sit with. For Charlie, it becomes fuel. For a very specific, very dangerous kind of obsession. Using systems he has clearance for, and a few he technically shouldn't touch. Charlie pulls hotel surveillance. Every nearby street camera he can access. Hour after hour, he reconstructs the entire attack, frame by frame, until he has something nobody else in the building has managed to build. The truth. The attackers had stolen a vehicle from across the city, slipped into the hotel through a service entrance, left behind nothing. No prints, no DNA. Professionals in every sense of the word. They were supposed to meet with representatives from a company called Impact Investments. Something went wrong in that meeting. A security guard's temper flared. A gun went off. One guard dead, another wounded, and suddenly 4 killers who'd planned a quiet transaction were trapped in a hotel with a small army of hostages. Sarah among them, caught in the crossfire, simply because she'd been helping other guests escape. She died being brave. Remember that. Because Charlie's biggest decision at the end of the movie makes sense only if you remember how Sarah chose to act here. That detail will matter later. Most revenge stories use death as motivation. This movie uses the way Sarah died to define every decision Charlie makes afterward. It's the kind of detail Charlie can never let go of. Using facial and voice recognition tools most analysts only dream of having access to, Charlie identifies all 4 attackers by name: a Russian operator, a former South African Special Forces soldier, a mercenary, and a former intelligence officer. He walks into his superior's office with the full picture. And this is the moment the movie really starts to turn cold. Because when Charlie lays it all out, his bosses don't look surprised. Not even a little. They already knew. Be honest. If you were Charlie, could you ever trust that agency again? Sometimes the cover-up becomes more evil than the crime itself. And this is where the movie quietly changes the real villain. It isn't the people who pulled the trigger. It's the people who already knew and chose to do nothing. They tell him, calmly, that the investigation has been running for a while now. Then they suggest, gently, dismissively, that maybe what he really needs isn't more answers. Maybe what he needs is a therapist. That's the moment Charlie stops being a grieving employee and starts being a threat. He doesn't announce it. He doesn't confront anyone in the hallway. Instead, he does something much smarter and much more dangerous. He starts quietly building leverage. Geniuses don't always win because they're stronger. Sometimes they win because everyone else is playing the wrong game. Notice what Charlie reaches for first. Not a weapon. Information. Because to Charlie, information has always been the most powerful weapon in the room. He hides a tiny device inside his own ID badge, small enough to slip past the very security scanners he engineered. He prints a stack of classified files, rigs the printer with a skimmer, copying digital versions of everything that passes through it. That night, he sits alone in a bar, staring at an old jukebox, like it holds the last piece of a plan. Only he can see. The next morning, he walks back into that office a completely different man. This time, he's not asking questions. He's making demands. He lays documents on the table, proof of operations his boss authorized and buried, including an attack on a hospital in Syria and a strike on an allied base in Yemen. Thousands of lives lost, hidden behind clean paperwork. Charlie tells them plainly, expose him, or he exposes everything. Straight to the director, straight to the world, and then the twist that makes it real. He claims he's built a dead man's switch, failed to enter a code every 5 hours, and every secret he's collected gets mailed straight to the press. In exchange for silence, his demands are simple and terrifying. Full field training, forged documents, cash, a weapon, and every scrap of intelligence connected to the people who killed his wife. He barely makes it to his car before the pressure catches up with him, and he's physically sick from the stress of what he's just done. Back inside, his boss laughs it off as a bluff. Caleb isn't so sure, and he isn't willing to gamble. If it turns out to be nothing, they'll find the switch eventually. And once Charlie is out in the field for training, accidents happen all the time. That's the quiet threat sitting underneath everything now. Charlie thinks he's negotiating from a position of power. He has no idea he's already been marked for death. Meanwhile, the CIA's internal team starts pulling the thread. They trace the skimmer to the printer, then to store footage of Charlie buying a magnetic stripe card. What they can't figure out is how he got it in and out of a building, lined with security he designed himself. Digging into his recent movements, they find he'd visited a particular bar twice, and hidden underneath the jukebox, an old ABBA CD, One that plays nothing but static when tested. They take it for analysis, certain it's hiding something. They're right. They just don't understand what yet. At a secret training facility, Charlie meets Colonel Henderson, and it's here the movie shows us something crucial. Charlie is brilliant, but he is not a killer. That's exactly what makes this movie different from almost every spy thriller you've seen. And that's the movie's biggest gamble. Most action heroes become more dangerous by learning how to kill. Charlie becomes more dangerous by refusing to think like everyone else. On the shooting range, he's genuinely terrible. Forced to stand embarrassingly close, just to hit a target. But hand him components for an explosive device, and something shifts. His fingers move with total confidence, assembling it faster and cleaner than agents who've done this for years. Henderson can't hide being impressed. Then comes the identity work. A new name, a new backstory, drilled into him under physical and psychological pressure, until it's second nature. That night, Henderson comes to Charlie's room and tells him something important. He doesn't think Charlie has it in him to kill anyone. Charlie insists he's not chasing revenge, only justice. Henderson, testing him, hands him a loaded pistol, tells him to prove it, aim it at his own chest, pull the trigger, if he really believes he can. Charlie's hands shake. He can't do it. He lowers the gun. Remember this scene. It's going to happen again. And next time, the stakes will be 100 times higher. Back at headquarters, the CIA's tech team finally crack the CD, and what they discover flips everything. Charlie's dead man's switch was never real. It was a bluff, from the very beginning. That's what makes Charlie so dangerous. He wins long before anyone realizes they're playing his game. Sometimes intelligence isn't about having the best plan. It's about convincing everyone else you already do. The order comes down immediately. Arrest him. Except Charlie is already gone. Here's the reveal that recontextualizes everything you just watched. That tiny chip in his ID badge was never a copy device. It was a listening bug, planted directly inside the files he handed over. Every conversation his bosses have had about him since that meeting, he's heard in real time. Think about the irony for a second. The agency built to watch everyone else never realized it was being watched from the inside. He knew they were closing in before they did. Warns him, this is treason now. No turning back. Charlie doesn't answer. He tosses his earpiece. In that moment, Charlie quietly cuts ties with the only life he's ever known, and boards a plane. The moment his forged passport pings the system in London, Henderson is sent to hunt him down. And from this point on, every mistake Charlie makes could be his last. The chase has officially begun. And now, for the first time, Charlie isn't operating with leverage. He's operating on borrowed time. Target 1, Gretchen. Charlie tracks Gretchen, the former intelligence officer turned killer, to Paris. Notice what's changed. Charlie isn't hunting people anymore. He's hunting weaknesses. That's the difference between Charlie and the people chasing him. They've spent their lives learning how to overpower people. Charlie spends his learning how to outthink them. Checking into a hotel near her usual restaurant. This is where the movie starts asking a bigger question than can he find them? It starts asking, what kind of man does he become once he does? He gets close enough to clone her phone signal, then spends a long, patient day watching her apartment from the street, learning her rhythms, the way a hunter learns a trail. When a resident finally leaves the building, he slips in behind them without a word, then teaches himself to pick her apartment lock from an online tutorial, like it's the most normal thing in the world, which, for a man who spent his whole career behind a desk, is genuinely unsettling to watch. Inside, he photographs everything. Her routines, her habits, a hidden pistol he quietly pockets. But his tracker warns him. She's coming back early. He hides in the stairwell. As she approaches her door, this is the perfect kill shot. Empty hallway. No witnesses. A gun in his hand. He can't do it. Could you have pulled the trigger? Or would you have frozen just like Charlie? His finger locks. His conscience wins. His is the second time the movie gives Charlie permission to become a killer. And for the second time, he refuses. He runs. Back at his hotel, alone, He imagines Sarah still there, waiting for him. A hallucination born entirely out of exhaustion and grief. When he steadies himself, he goes back over the photographs from Gretchen's apartment and notices something. She visits a hospital often, finds the answer. A severe, potentially fatal allergy. And that's when it clicks for Charlie. He doesn't need to be a killer. He needs to be smarter than one. That's the movie's central idea. Charlie never wins by becoming someone else. He wins by becoming a better version of himself. The next day, disguised, he traps Gretchen inside a hospital scanning machine and floods it with pollen. As her body starts shutting down, he offers her a trade. The location of the man who killed Sarah in exchange for her life. But the reaction moves faster than either of them expects. Barely able to speak, she breaks free instead, and the two crash through the room in a brutal, chaotic fight. She overpowers him, flees into the street, and is struck instantly by a passing car, dead before Charlie can even reach her. He didn't pull a trigger, but he watches someone die because of what he set in motion, and it guts him. For the first time, Charlie realizes that even indirect choices have direct consequences. He takes her phone, ditches his disguise, disappears into the night, catching a bus out of the city. That evening, drowning his guilt in a bar, he briefly mistakes a stranger for Sarah on the dance floor. A small, devastating detail that shows exactly how much he's unraveling. Then he spots Henderson approaching. He runs. Henderson follows. Through crowds, through streets, into a second bar, where Charlie locks himself in a windowless bathroom. With no way out. Cornered, he steps back out, sits beside Henderson, like nothing is wrong. And that's when Charlie shows him a countdown timer on his phone. He gets up, walks out. Seconds later, the bathroom explodes. In the chaos, Charlie vanishes completely, and even his phone's tracker goes dark. Once again, the smartest man in the room has outmaneuvered everyone chasing him. The ally, desperate and out of moves, Charlie reaches out to Inquiline and follows the trail to Istanbul. In a crowded restaurant, expecting to meet a man, he's instead approached by a woman who reveals, calmly, that she is Inquiline. She already knows everything. About Sarah, about what he's become. She leads him through the city, teaching him tradecraft on the fly, how to disappear in plain sight. Before driving him to a safe house, she's kept hidden for over 3 years. There she tells him her story. Her husband, the original Inquiline, had secretly worked both American and Russian intelligence for years. Before dying under circumstances the official report calls an accident, and everything about her tone insists was anything but. She inherited his skills, his network, his war. Years of running have worn her down, to the point where she's already planned her own way out. If it ever comes to that, there's something quietly devastating about the way she says it. Not dramatic, just a woman who has made peace, with an ending she hopes never actually arrives. Charlie doesn't push. He recognizes that particular kind of tired. He's been wearing it himself since London. Together, they map the remaining targets. Ho, the man who recruited the mercenaries and personally killed Sarah, is the ultimate goal. Lawrence, an international arms dealer, is next in line, and Inquiline plans to approach him herself, posing as a black market buyer. That leaves Mishka, a man who broadcasts his entire life on social media without a second thought. Digging through his photos, they spot the same woman appearing again and again by his side, and using facial recognition, trace her Instagram straight to a location in Spain. Another thread, another target within reach. Meanwhile, the CIA comes apart at the seams. Back at headquarters, Caleb keeps every known target under surveillance, betting Charlie will surface near one of them eventually. Director O'Brien, growing suspicious of Charlie's boss, warns him directly. No more unauthorized black operations. Without her sign-off, he doesn't even flinch. He tells her, almost bored, that the last director said the same thing and got the same answer he's about to give her. Stay out of his business, and he'll make sure she keeps getting results. It's a threat wearing the mask of cooperation. The kind of exchange that tells you everything about how deep this rot actually goes inside the agency. This isn't one bad man protecting one bad secret. Corruption survives for years not because nobody sees it, but because too many people decide they can live with it. This is an entire system, and that's what makes the corruption feel believable. It's never presented as one evil mastermind. It's presented as ordinary people choosing comfort over accountability. That's learned to look away, generation after generation, as long as the results keep coming. Moments later, O'Brien learns that Henderson has surfaced in Spain, sent there, without her approval, by the very man she just warned. Furious, she quietly deploys her own trusted agent to shadow Henderson. This is no longer just a manhunt. It's a war for control of the agency itself, playing out silently, behind the main chase. Target 2, Mishka. Charlie and Inquiline track Mishka to a Madrid hotel. With an extraordinary rooftop pool, suspended between two towers, Henderson has already followed Charlie into the city, watching from the shadows, without Charlie realizing it. The pattern about to break, for the first time. Charlie rigs a device inside the hotel, follows Mishka into the bar, unaware Henderson is watching from the lobby. Inside, Charlie clocks a stranger who looks familiar, and realizes, with a jolt, that he's being tailed. Inquiline confirms it through his earpiece, CIA. And seconds later, Henderson appears on the cameras too. She tells him to abort. He refuses. When Mishka finally reaches the pool, Charlie confronts him directly, demanding Ho's location, threatening to destroy the pool if he refuses. Mishka laughs in his face. The kind of laugh you give someone who clearly doesn't belong in this world of killers and mercenaries. He turns his back on Charlie, swims away like the threat means nothing. That's a mistake. Charlie triggers the device. The glass floor beneath thousands of gallons of water shatters, with a sound like the whole building cracking in half. And a waterfall crashes down into the street below, tourists and traffic scattering in every direction. It's the loudest, most chaotic thing Charlie has done yet. Proof that the quiet analyst from that garage is completely gone now. In the chaos, Henderson closes in, until another CIA agent tackles him mid-chase, and the two crash into a laundry room in a vicious, brutal fight that ends with Henderson shot, then killing the other agent. With the man's own weapon, Charlie watches it all from a distance, momentarily torn on whether to help. Inquiline reminds him, the mission isn't finished. He walks away. Back at CIA headquarters, O'Brien confronts Charlie's boss directly about what's happening. He lies without hesitation, claiming Charlie is simply on bereavement leave. She lets him go, and immediately pulls the hotel footage herself, clearly not buying a word of it. Caleb's team is combing the same footage, and reaches a chilling conclusion. Charlie isn't operating alone. Someone with serious skill is running support behind him, tracing his encrypted messages, leads them to old records of the original Inquiline, and from there, to the discovery that his widow inherited everything, his identity, his network, his reach. For the first time, the agency realizes exactly what they're up against. Not a grieving analyst improvising in the dark, a partnership between one of their own and one of the most dangerous intelligence operators alive. Target 3, Lawrence, and the cost of the chase. That night, Charlie and Inquiline share a quiet room, resting side by side. Nothing romantic, just two exhausted people who found a strange comfort in trusting someone else with their survival. It doesn't last. Her pet birds scream a warning, and security feeds reveal agents surrounding the house from every side. They escape through a hidden tunnel, just as the raid begins, her computer automatically wiping itself clean behind them. Outside, a surveillance drone spots them, and what follows is a desperate, high-speed chase along the coastline. Agents firing, boats closing in, their car taking heavy damage. Inquiline is hit, badly. Charlie has no choice but to take the wheel himself, driving with everything he has, until he finally shakes their pursuers. He pulls into a quiet garage and says goodbye to the woman who started as a stranger's voice on a screen and became, somehow, the only person left who truly understood what he was fighting for. It's the heaviest loss of the film, outside of Sarah herself. Losing Inquiline hurts differently. Sarah represents the life Charlie lost. Inquiline represents the life that helped him survive it, and it lands Charlie completely alone. The mission is still alive, but everyone carrying it with him is gone. For the first time since this all began, he doesn't stop. Posing as an arms dealer, he arranges a meeting with Lawrence, then builds an elaborate deception, a fabricated video that convinces the entire CIA he's in Berlin, sending their whole team scrambling in the wrong direction while he's actually in Romania. When Lawrence shows up expecting a buyer, he finds only a ringing phone. Charlie's voice on the other end tells him to open a nearby box. Inside, explosives and a photograph of Sarah, making the message unmistakable. Charlie steps out from behind him, demanding Ho's location. In exchange for defusing the bomb, Lawrence gives it up. Russian waters, supplied through a Baltic port, reachable only through an encrypted code stored on his phone. He tosses the phone to the ground. Charlie picks it up and walks away. The explosion behind him kills Lawrence instantly. By the time the CIA realizes their Berlin lead was a fabrication, Charlie is already gone. Alone in a hotel room in Russia, grief finally catches up to him. He opens Sarah's unopened gift at last, a small puzzle box. Remember this, the answer inside isn't just emotional. It becomes the reason Charlie finishes the journey and solves it, uncovering a hidden message from his wife, written before she ever knew how their story would end. It's the quiet gut punch the whole film has been building toward, and it's exactly what gives him the strength to finish what he started. The next morning, Charlie stakes out the harbor, sends the encrypted code from Lawrence's phone, and follows a lead to a luxury yacht registered under Ho's network. But before he can act, he's ambushed, knocked unconscious, Sarah's puzzle box slipping from his hand as everything goes dark. He wakes up on the yacht, face to face, finally, with the man who killed his wife. Ho already knows everything Charlie has done, and he makes an observation that cuts right to the heart of the movie's entire theme. Ho isn't just trying to stop Charlie. He's trying to understand him, and in doing that, he accidentally exposes the entire point of the movie. Charlie has never actually killed anyone with his own hands. He's only ever engineered situations where other people died. Ho doesn't believe Charlie has it in him to pull a trigger on a person standing right in front of him, so he hands him a gun and dares him to prove otherwise. This is the moment the entire film has been circling. Remember Henderson's test? This is why the movie needed it. It was never about teaching Charlie to shoot. It was teaching us what kind of man he really was. Since that first night in the training facility, the same test, almost beat for beat. A weapon pressed into Charlie's hand, a dare wrapped around it. Except this time it isn't a colonel testing his resolve. It's the man who pulled the trigger on Sarah, standing 3 feet away, practically inviting Charlie to become exactly what grief could so easily have turned him into. Every reason in the world says pull the trigger. Nobody watching would blame him if he did. Charlie lowers the gun instead. That's the difference between revenge and justice. And that's when Ho realizes he's misjudged him completely. Because Charlie was never planning to win this with a weapon. The yacht suddenly lurches off course. The crew panics, confused, as control slips away from them entirely. Charlie, calm now, reveals the truth. This yacht runs on CIA-designed security protocols he personally helped build. Hacking it wasn't a challenge. It was practically muscle memory. The movie never lets Charlie win with violence. It lets him win by being exactly who he always was. He redirects the entire vessel straight toward Finland, and before long, naval forces and international authorities surround it. Ho and every man aboard are taken into custody. Justice, finally, without a single bullet fired by Charlie's own hand. Back home, Director O'Brien holds a press conference, announcing the exposure and arrest of the corrupt officials who spent years abusing the agency's power and covering up operations that cost thousands of innocent lives. The empire Charlie's former boss built quietly collapses in the daylight. Henderson finds Charlie afterward, tells him something simple but earned. He's proud of him. Because through everything, Henderson finally understands Charlie didn't fail training. Charlie outgrew it. Because through everything, the chases, the explosions, the moments where killing would have been easy, Charlie never once became the thing he was hunting. And maybe that's what the movie was really testing all along. Not whether Charlie could kill, but whether grief could. Charlie never once became the thing he was hunting. In the final moments, Charlie visits Sarah's grave, standing quietly with her for one last conversation only he can hear. Then he goes home, back to the garage where this whole story started, and climbs into the small plane she gave him for his birthday, the one he never finished building, and the one he never got to fly with her. It's a beautiful callback. The movie begins with Charlie building something he never gets to finish. It ends with him finally finding the strength to finish what Sarah started. He takes it into the sky alone, engine humming, city shrinking below him, and for a few quiet minutes, it's just Charlie, the plane, and everything he's carried since that morning in the garage. For the first time since the story began, there's peace on his face. So, what did you think about this movie? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories. See you in the next video.